Desperate measures. Olivia Carter's hands trembled as she folded the letter from Boston Medical Institute. The words blurred before her eyes, but their meaning had already seared into her heart. Unfortunately, your application for the Pediatric Immune Disorder Program has been denied due to limited availability. She glanced at the small bedroom where her 7-year-old daughter Lily slept peacefully, unaware that her mother's hopes had just crumbled. Lily's rare autoimmune disorder had been manageable until last month when her symptoms suddenly accelerated. The conventional treatments were failing, and this experimental program had been their last resort. Olivia sank onto the worn sofa of their modest apartment, the weight of single motherhood bearing down harder than ever. After 5 years of working double shifts at Seattle Memorial Hospital, she still couldn't afford the treatment her daughter desperately needed. Her nursing salary stretched thin, covering basic medical expenses and rent. Her phone buzzed with a text from her colleague, Maya. "Did you see who's giving the lecture at the hospital tomorrow? Dr. Ethan Reynolds. Isn't he the one who—" Olivia's heart stuttered at the name, Dr. Ethan Reynolds. The brilliant medical researcher who had once promised her the world, only to vanish without explanation 6 years ago. The man who didn't know he had a daughter. She hadn't told him about her pregnancy. By the time she discovered it, he had already disappeared, leaving only a hastily written note about needing space. Months later, when she saw his name associated with groundbreaking immune system research, she understood he had chosen his career over their relationship. Now, he was the director of the Reynolds Foundation, which funded the exact treatment Lily needed. "Destiny has a cruel sense of humor," Olivia whispered, running her fingers through her chestnut hair. The irony wasn't lost on her. The father who never knew his child might be her only hope for saving that child's life. Sleep evaded Olivia that night. Memories of Ethan flooded back. His intense gray eyes that lit up when discussing medical breakthroughs, his gentle touch, the way his voice softened when they were alone. They had met during her nursing residency when he was completing his medical fellowship. Their connection had been immediate and profound until he abruptly ended it. Morning came too quickly. Olivia dressed carefully in her best professional attire, a navy blue dress that highlighted her slender frame. She arranged for her neighbor, Mrs. Patel, to watch Lily after school. "Mommy, are you going somewhere special?" Lily asked over breakfast, her delicate features so similar to Ethan's it sometimes took Olivia's breath away. "Just a special lecture at the hospital, sweetie," Olivia replied, smoothing Lily's dark curls. "I'll be home for dinner." Hours later, Olivia stood at the back of the hospital conference room, watching as Ethan confidently addressed the medical staff. Success had matured him, his once boyish features now more defined, a touch of silver at his temples despite being only 35. But his passion remained unchanged as he described his foundation's breakthrough treatment for pediatric immune disorders, the treatment that could save their daughter. When the lecture ended, Olivia took a deep breath and joined the line of people waiting to speak with him. Her heart pounded as she approached, clutching Lily's medical file in trembling hands. When Ethan's eyes finally met hers, the recognition was immediate. His professional smile faltered, replaced by genuine shock. "Olivia," he whispered, as if seeing a ghost. "Hello, Ethan," she replied softly. "We need to talk. The proposition." The silence in Ethan's private office at Seattle Memorial was deafening. He stood by the window, his tall frame silhouetted against the city skyline, still processing Olivia's presence after all these years. "Your daughter has Stellerman syndrome?" he finally asked, his voice carefully controlled as he reviewed Lily's medical file. "Yes," Olivia replied, seated across from his desk. "The conventional treatment stopped working last month. Her immune system is attacking her own tissues at an accelerated rate." Ethan's brow furrowed as he studied the test results. "This is advanced for someone her age. How old is she?" Olivia hesitated. "She's 6. Almost 7 next month." The timing wasn't lost on him. His calculating gaze met hers, a question forming that he didn't voice. Instead, he closed the file with a sigh. "The treatment protocol we've developed shows incredible promise, but it's still in limited trials. There's a waiting list." "She doesn't have time for a waiting list," Olivia interrupted, her composure cracking. Her last blood work showed critical markers. Please, Ethan. I wouldn't be here if there were any other option. He rubbed his temples, conflict evident in his expression. The board controls patient selection. I can't just— You're the director, she pressed. It's complicated. The foundation's funding has specific parameters. His voice softened. Olivia, I wish I could help, but my hands are tied by the trust my grandmother established. She stood to leave, disappointment weighing heavily. I understand. I shouldn't have come. As she reached the door, his voice stopped her. Wait, there might be a way. Olivia turned, hope cautiously flickering. My grandmother's trust has a special provision, Ethan explained slowly. A discretionary fund I can access, but only under specific circumstances. He paced behind his desk. The annual Reynolds Charity Gala is this Saturday. My grandmother expected the foundation director to maintain certain appearances, including attending with a suitable companion. Understanding dawned on Olivia. You want me to be your date? One evening, Olivia. We attend together, convince my grandmother I'm fulfilling her expectations of a suitable match, and I can approve Lily's treatment immediately under the discretionary fund. Her eyes narrowed. Why me? Surely you could find someone else? A shadow crossed his face. The provision specifically requires someone with substance, not just appearance. My grandmother will be evaluating closely. He paused. And frankly, we have history that would make it believable. History that ended when you walked away, she reminded him sharply. Pain flickered in his gray eyes. I had reasons. Save it, Olivia cut him off. This isn't about us. It's about Lily. She took a steadying breath. One evening and Lily gets the treatment? My word, he promised, extending his hand. Olivia hesitated before shaking it, trying to ignore the familiar warmth of his touch. I'll need a dress. Already arranged. A stylist will meet you tomorrow. He wrote an address on a card. 7 o'clock Saturday. A car will pick you up. His professional demeanor faltered slightly. Thank you, Olivia. As she left the hospital, Olivia wondered what she had just agreed to. One evening, pretending to be romantically involved with the man who broke her heart, the father who didn't know he had a daughter, all to save Lily's life. Whatever the cost to her heart, it was a price she was willing to pay. Beneath the chandeliers. The Reynolds estate sprawled across the Seattle hillside, its windows glittering like stars against the twilight sky. Olivia's heart raced as the car approached the grand entrance where guests in formal attire were already arriving. Her reflection in the car window showed a woman she barely recognized. The emerald gown Ethan's stylist had selected hugged her curves perfectly, her chestnut hair elegantly swept to one side. For tonight, she wasn't just Olivia the nurse and mother, but someone who belonged in this world of wealth and privilege. Ready? Ethan asked as he opened her door, looking devastatingly handsome in his tailored tuxedo. His appreciative gaze as she stepped out made her flush. As I'll ever be, she replied, accepting his offered arm. The grand ballroom took her breath away. Crystal chandeliers casting a golden glow over marble floors, floral arrangements worth more than her monthly rent adorning every table. The elite of Seattle's medical and business communities mingled over champagne and orchestral music. Ethan, darling! An elegant silver-haired woman approached them, her shrewd blue eyes assessing Olivia immediately. You finally brought someone interesting to my gala. Grandmother, Ethan smiled, kissing her cheek. This is Olivia Carter. Olivia, my grandmother, Eleanor Reynolds. Mrs. Reynolds, Olivia greeted her respectfully. Your foundation's work is extraordinary. Call me Eleanor, dear, she replied. And tell me, how did you manage to capture my grandson's attention? He's been disappointingly solitary these past years. Before Olivia could formulate a response, Ethan's arm slid around her waist. Olivia and I have history, he said, his tone warm. We reconnected recently and I realized what I'd been missing. The casual intimacy of his touch sent a jolt through Olivia's body, awakening feelings she'd worked hard to bury. Interesting, Eleanor remarked. Well, don't disappear too quickly. The board members will want to meet her. As his grandmother moved away, Ethan guided Olivia toward the dance floor. Sorry about that. She's always been direct. She's evaluating me, Olivia observed as he drew her into his arms for a waltz. She evaluates everyone, he confirmed, leading her effortlessly across the floor. But she seemed impressed. Dancing with Ethan felt dangerously familiar. His hand at the small of her back, the subtle scent of his cologne, the way their bodies remembered each other's rhythms, it all threatened the carefully constructed walls around her heart. You look beautiful tonight, he murmured, his gaze lingering on her face. Though you always did. Ethan, don't, she whispered. This is an arrangement, nothing more. Pain flashed in his eyes. Is it so hard to believe I might have regrets? That leaving you might have been the biggest mistake of my life? The music swelled around them as other couples joined the dance floor, but Olivia felt as though they were alone in the vast room. Why did you leave? She finally asked, the question that had haunted her for years. His expression darkened. It wasn't by choice, he said quietly. There were threats, serious ones, against my research and anyone close to me. Olivia's pulse quickened. What are you saying? Before he could answer, they were interrupted by a board member eager to meet Ethan's date. The moment broken, they circulated through the crowd, playing their roles perfectly. Ethan proudly introduced her as a talented pediatric nurse, his hand never leaving hers. As the evening progressed, Olivia found herself wondering how much of this was still an act. The way he looked at her, the genuine laugh she hadn't heard in years, the protective way he kept her close. It felt real, despite everything that had happened between them. During a quiet moment on the terrace, Ethan gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Thank you for tonight, he said softly. You've charmed everyone, especially my grandmother. Enough to secure the treatment for Lily? She asked, reminding them both of why they were really here. Yes, he confirmed. I'll sign the approval tomorrow. Relief washed over her, but was quickly replaced by anxiety as his hand cupped her cheek, his eyes reflecting the moonlight and something deeper. Olivia, he whispered, leaning closer. There's something I need to tell you about why I disappeared. Unveiled truths. My research was more controversial than anyone realized, Ethan said, his voice low as they stood in the moonlit privacy of the terrace. I was developing treatments that threatened billion-dollar pharmaceutical protocols. Olivia watched his expression harden with the memory. What happened? First came the warnings, subtle professional threats, research funding mysteriously withdrawn. His fingers tightened around the stone balustrade. Then my lab was broken into, data stolen. But when my apartment was ransacked with a note saying they knew how to hurt me where it mattered, I realized they were targeting people I cared about. The weight of his words settled between them. You mean me? I couldn't risk your safety, he continued. Disappearing completely was the only way to protect you. I accepted a research position in Switzerland under heightened security until we identified who was behind it. You could have told me, Olivia said, hurt coloring her voice. Let me decide if the risk was worth it. I couldn't take that chance, Ethan replied, gently taking her hands in his. Not with your life. What I didn't know was that you were... His eyes searched hers. Lily is mine, isn't she? The directness of his question stole her breath. Yes, she admitted after a long moment. I found out 3 weeks after you left. I tried to contact you, but every connection was severed. Pain and wonder crossed his features. I have a daughter, he whispered, the revelation transforming him before her eyes. All this time, I missed everything. She has your eyes, Olivia said softly, and your stubborn determination. Ethan's phone interrupted the moment, buzzing insistently in his pocket. He glanced at it with irritation, then froze. It's the hospital. Olivia's heart dropped as she watched him answer. The color drained from his face as he listened. We'll be right there, he said, ending the call and turning to her with urgency. It's Lily. She's been admitted to the emergency room with acute inflammation. Mrs. Patel brought her in. The world tilted beneath Olivia's feet. No, she was stable this morning? My car is out front, he interrupted, already guiding her through the ballroom, pausing only briefly to make their excuses to Eleanor, whose concerned gaze followed them. The ride to the hospital passed in tense silence, Ethan breaking every speed limit while Olivia clutched his free hand, drawing strength from his steady presence. When they arrived, he used his authority to bypass normal protocols, leading her directly to the pediatric wing where Lily had been admitted. Seeing her daughter's small form in the hospital bed, connected to monitors and IV lines, nearly broke Olivia. Lily's usually rosy cheeks were pale, her breathing labored. "Mommy?" she called weakly. "I don't feel good." "I'm here, baby." Olivia rushed to her side, stroking her hair. "Everything's going to be okay." Lily's gaze drifted to Ethan, standing uncertainly in the doorway. "Are you my doctor?" Something indefinable passed across his face, recognition perhaps of features that mirrored his own. "I'm Dr. Reynolds," he said gently, approaching the bed, "and I'm going to help make you better." He turned to the attending physician, his voice transforming to commanding professionalism. "I want her started on the Reynolds protocol immediately. I'll authorize it personally." "But sir," the doctor objected, "that treatment is still in trials. This child qualifies under my discretionary approval," Ethan stated firmly. "The medication is in our research pharmacy. I'll retrieve it myself." As he strode from the room, Olivia saw not the man who had abandoned her, but a father fighting for his daughter's life without even knowing it. Hours passed in a blur of medical procedures and paperwork. Ethan worked alongside the hospital staff, monitoring Lily's response to the first dose of treatment. By dawn, her condition had stabilized, her inflammatory markers beginning to decrease. In a quiet moment while Lily slept, Ethan found Olivia in the hallway, offering a cup of hospital coffee. "The initial response is promising," he said. "Better than we typically see." Olivia nodded gratefully. "Thank you for acting so quickly." Ethan hesitated, exhaustion and emotion evident on his face. "I'd like to tell her," he said finally, "when she's better. If you'll allow it." The request hung between them, a bridge between their broken past and an uncertain future. Before Olivia could respond, Lily's nurse called them back into the room as their daughter began to wake. Looking at them standing together at her bedside, the nurse smiled. "She's lucky to have both her parents here." Neither Ethan nor Olivia corrected her. Healing hearts. 3 weeks passed in a whirlwind of hospital visits and treatment adjustments. Lily's response to the therapy exceeded all expectations, her body's healing rate astonishing even Ethan's research team. Each day brought noticeable improvement, color returning to her cheeks and energy to her movements. Olivia watched with mixed emotions as Ethan formed a cautious bond with Lily. He visited daily, often bringing medical journals disguised as storybooks that made Lily giggle, or special treats approved by her nutritionist. Their daughter's immediate connection to him was undeniable, a recognition that transcended their years apart. "He's nice," Lily commented one afternoon after Ethan had left. "He knows all about stars and dinosaurs just like me." "He's very smart," Olivia agreed, folding Lily's laundry beside the hospital bed. "Is he your friend?" Lily asked with the innocent directness of a child. Olivia paused, considering the complexity of their situation. "We're finding our way back to friendship." "Good," Lily nodded decisively. "He looks at you like Prince Charming looks at Cinderella in my book." Before Olivia could process this observation, Dr. Eleanor Reynolds appeared in the doorway, elegant even in her white lab coat. "May I come in? I've been reviewing Lily's case." Olivia welcomed her, surprised by the visit. As Eleanor examined Lily's charts and chatted warmly with the child about her favorite animals, Olivia saw glimpses of where Ethan had inherited his compassionate bedside manner. "You have a remarkable daughter," Eleanor commented later as they stepped into the hallway. "Her resilience is extraordinary." "Thank you," Olivia replied. "Your foundation's treatment is working miracles." Eleanor studied her thoughtfully. "You know, in 40 years of medicine, I've developed a sense about people. The night of the gala, I saw something between you and my grandson that wasn't pretense." Her directness was startling. "He told me everything, about your history. About Lily, about his reasons for leaving." Olivia tensed, unsure where this conversation was heading. "Love that sacrifices itself for another's safety is rare," Eleanor continued. "As rare as second chances." She patted Olivia's hand. Don't waste this one. On Lily's discharge day, Ethan arrived early, helping pack her belongings and explaining the ongoing treatment schedule. His evident nervousness was endearing, a stark contrast to his usual clinical confidence. "I've taken a leave from the foundation," he announced as they walked to Olivia's car. "I'm staying in Seattle indefinitely." Olivia glanced at him over Lily's head. "What about your research?" "I can conduct it from here," he replied. "Some things are more important." His gaze met hers meaningfully. "Olivia, I'd like to talk about us. About Lily." That evening, after Lily was settled at home and asleep in her own bed, Olivia and Ethan sat in her small living room, the weight of unspoken words between them. "I want to be part of her life," he said quietly. "If you'll let me?" "She deserves to know her father," Olivia agreed. "We'll tell her together when the time is right." Relief softened his features. "And us?" he asked cautiously. "Is there any chance for—" Olivia's heart raced. "You hurt me deeply, Ethan. Even understanding why, that pain doesn't simply vanish." "I know," he acknowledged. "I'm asking for a chance to earn back your trust, to show you that I never stopped loving you, even when staying away was the only way to love you safely." He moved closer, his hand gently covering hers. "I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. Just opportunity to be in both your lives, to rebuild what we lost." The sincerity in his eyes melted her resistance. "We're different people now," she said softly. "I'm not the same woman you left." "You're stronger," he replied. "More beautiful. More remarkable than ever." When he leaned forward, she didn't pull away. His kiss was gentle, a question rather than a demand, awakening feelings she had buried beneath years of solitary resilience. Pulling back slightly, Olivia whispered, "Slow. We need to take this slow." "We have time now," Ethan promised. "All the time we need." 6 months later, Lily's medical reports showed complete remission. The experimental treatment had been fully successful, with Ethan's research team documenting her case as a breakthrough for other children with the same condition. On a crisp autumn evening, Ethan brought Lily home from their weekly father-daughter adventure to find Olivia waiting with news of her own. As their daughter showed off the seashells they'd collected, Olivia caught Ethan's gaze across the room. "Everything okay?" he asked, sensing something different in her expression. Olivia smiled, a private joy illuminating her features. "Perfect," she replied, her hand unconsciously drifting to her abdomen. "But we might need a bigger apartment soon." Understanding dawned in his eyes, followed by wonder and elation. This time he would be there from the beginning, for all of them. Some second chances, Olivia realized, were worth every moment of waiting.